皆さん本日は、同志社大学一神教学際研究センター主催の講演会、公開講演会にお出ましいただきまして誠にありがとうございます。本日の講師は在日イスラエル大使のコーヘン大使でございます。コーヘン大使、わざわざ今日は東京から京都までお出ましいただきまして誠にありがとうございました。またご一緒に来てくださいましたバス3時間本当にありがとうございます。まず最初にこの講演会について、そして講師についてご説明をさせていただきます。私は同志社大学一神教学際研究センター長の森光一でございます。この講演会は一神教学際研究センター主催で同志社大学の神学部及び法学部の共催で行われます。まず最初にプログラムにも印刷されてありますけれども、コーヘン大使について簡単にご紹介をさせていただきたいと思います。コーヘン大使は1949年にエルサレムでお生まれになりました。そしてヘブライ大学で数学物理学を学ばれ卒業なさいました後、お仕事に就かれましたけれども、後に政治の世界にお入りになりました。国防省青年パイオニア局長、それから国防大臣補佐官などを歴任されて、2002年に国会議員に当選なさっております。日本に大使としておいでになりましたのは2004年でございます。今日は講演のためにおいでいただいておりますけれども、前回大使にご就任なさった直後、バス3時間とともに同志社大学を訪問してくださっております。で、大使はとても日本通の方でございまして、特に武道に関してはこれはもうプロ級の方です。で、小刀剣空手を収めておられまして、その最高段位である5段を持っておられます。で、空手以外にも居合道を現在収めておられまして、空手に関しては着任直後から東京で道場を開かれて、そして日本の子どもたちやお年寄りのためにですね、空手を広めておられるということで、愛読書は宮本武蔵の五輪の書であるということですから、私たち以上に日本の心をよく理解されている方かも分かりません。次に同志社大学の一神教学際研究センターおよび神学部とイスラエルの関係について少しご説明をさせていただきたいと思います。一神教学際研究センターおよび神学部はエルサレムにありますヘブライ大学の人文学部と学術交流協定を結んでおります。そしてヘブライ大学から非常に優秀な先生方、客員教授でお見えいただいておりますが、今日もそこにお座りですけれども、現在は司会文書の世界的な権威であるトーフ教授が客員教授としておいでです。トーフ教授、could you stand up? その他に学術交流協定だけではなくて、今年もそうなんですけれども、夏休みを利用しましてイスラエルに夏季研修プログラムを行っております。学生が教師とともにイスラエルで研修をするわけですけれども、今年は6人でしたか7人、はい、7人の学生がイスラエルに参りまして、そして講義を受けるとともにですね、現地で研修をするというプログラムになっております。そこにトーフ先生の横にお座りのアダ・コヘン先生、そしてドロン・コヘンさんが引率される予定でございます。この実施に関しては 在日イスラエル大使館にも非常にお世話になっておりまして、そういう意味でも感謝を申し上げたいというふうに考えております。でこの夏季研修プログラムは同志社大学の大学院神学研究科の成果科目としてこれに参加した者には単位を出すというですね、そういう成果科目として運営をいたしております。さて本日の大使による講演でございますけれども、タイトルにありますようにイスラエル、副題が民主主義宗教、そしてイスラエル日本関係についてという形でイスラエルの政治と宗教の問題全般について語っていただく予定でございます。しかしここにお集まりの多くの皆さんは今一番気になっているのはやはりイスラエル・パレスチナの問題ではないかというふうに思います。大使というお立場上直接この問題について語っていただくということはないかも分かりません。しかし講演の後の質問の時間には喜んで質問を受けたいというふうにおっしゃっておりますので、どうぞその時にはご質問いただければというふうに思います。でこのイスラエル・パレスチナ問題というのは我々一神教学際研究センターにとっても非常に重要なテーマです。で一神教学際研究センターは単なる学術研究を行うだけではなくて、そこで文明の共存とそして平和構築というものを目指すために学んでいくということを目標にしております。でこのイスラエル・パレスチナ問題はその地域における平和共存に深く関係しているだけではなくて、やはりこれはそれがですね世界に影響を及ぼして一神教世界および世界全体の文明の共存と平和構築にとって非常に大きな影響を持っていると思います。で最近のニュースをご覧になって皆さん心を痛めておられると思いますけれども、イスラエルの北部およびこのパレスチナのガザにおいてこの平和と共存というものからは非常に遠く離れた状況が現在出現しております。でこのことに対しては非常に私たちも憂慮をしております。で中にはそういう状況の中でイスラエル大使を招いて講演をするということ自体おかしいのではないかというご批判もいくつかいただいておりますけれども、私たちはやはり何よりも大切なことはこのパレスチナ・イスラエル問題の内容についてで正しい理解をしていくということが必要なのではないかと思いまして、これまでにもそのような趣旨のもとで講演会およびシンポジウムを計画してまいりました。6月の17日にはロンドン在住のパレスチナ人の政治学者であるアッザーム・タミーミ氏をお招きしまして、やはりこの場所でパレスチナの側から見たこのイスラエル・パレスチナ問題についての講演を伺う機会を持ちました。そしてその1週間後6月24日にはヘブライ大学のトルーマン平和研究所との共催のシンポジウムを完売館で行いました。でこの時にはイスラエルから2名の研究者、そしてパレスチナ居住地区のヨルダン川西岸の大学から2名の研究者、両方から4名の研究者をお招きして公開シンポジウムを行い、そして午後には日本の研究者も含めてクローズドでございましたけれども、非常に突っ込んだ意見の交換学びの時を持つことができました。そしてそれに引き続いて本日コーヘン大使をお招きしてイスラエルにおける政治と宗教の内容について学ばせていただきたいというふうに考えております。通訳は横田陽子さんが当たってくださいます。講演を始めていただく前にどうか皆さん、携帯電話のですねスイッチをお切り願いたいと思います。それでは早速エリ・コーヘン大使をお招きしたいと思います。
皆さんこんにちは。毎日日本語を勉強しますだけ少し後編は少しパッシングメッセージ少し難しいです。デモクラシー、レリジアス教会小泉首相は4ヶ月前に会いました。イスラエル、パレスチナ、ジョーダン、エジプト問題がシリア、イランとノースコリア、ゆっくり話をしました。後で、会議を終わりました時、あと小泉首相質問をしました。コーヘン大使、もう空手練習しますか？私は、答えしました。Mr. Prime Minister、毎日日本語を勉強します。毎日空手練習します。毎日居合練習します。少し仕事をします。小泉首相答えしました。びっくりしました。後で冗談わかりました。後で私も少し仕事をします。Israel state and the Jewish state and the democratic state, when we say democratic state and when we say Jewish state, already in this declaration there is a conflict. And when Israel state was established in 1948, there was a declaration of the creation of the state rather than constitution, because until today we don't have a constitution. The reasons that we don't have a constitution is because of the conflict of the law of the Bible, not conflict, but how to implement law of the Bible in a state that is democratic state in the sense of modern world, in our new modern world. In the Declaration of Independence, there are many issues, many important principles that were dealt with, but I will mention two of them that are dealing with this question of democracy and religion. And the first one is that the state of Israel should be the state for the Jewish nation that is spread all around the world. It means that this nature of state and the culture are in the structure or having a special relations between the state and the people in the Jewish sense, and I will give more details in the future. The main reason of creating this state was to bring justice and historical justice to the people of Israel, bringing them after 2,000 years without having a state, and giving them a place that they can live in peace in their own state and not spread around the world. One of the laws that is concerning this is the law of return for the Jewish people. A big question was raised among the Jewish people around the world. What is the declaration a Jew? Who is a Jew? His mother is a Jew, his father is a Jew, his grandfather is a Jew. A declaration, I am a Jew, is enough? Yes or not? Or converted as a Jew? That's a big question among the Jewish people, even today. To understand, the Jewish people spread all around the world. So there are Jewish people from Russia, and Jewish people from Europe, and Jewish people from China, and Jewish people from United States, and Jewish people from Tunisia, like my parents, or Jewish people from Iraq, or Yemen, or many countries. For 2,000, some of them more than 2,000 years ago, created different culture, different relation. Ethiopian Jews, more than 2,600 years ago. So how do you declare who is a Jew? They have different ideas, some of them. And there is no other example in the world. We cannot learn from any other nation because it doesn't exist. No nation had this kind of experience. And so we had to create from our mind and experience and tradition the way how to rebuild this new nation after 2,000 years. I'm only touching one issue, which is a very important issue, but in the next hour, I'll touch other issues in order to explain to you how complicated is this issue among the Jewish people and in the state of Israel. Only the issue of who is a Jew and religious aspects inside a small state of Israel. By declaring this declaration, this state is the state for the Jewish nation, already there are many small details and many very complicated things that should be dealt in the creation of the new state. The second declaration, or the second article in the declaration that I want to mention, is that this state should be a democratic state. In not going into all details of democracy, but main things, and respecting the all values of democracy, and respecting the honor and of the human being, the right for freedom and for equality, that everyone is equal to the other. Equality, you said, right? No. What does it mean when you are talking about Jewish state? What's going on to happen with the Christians and the Muslims and the Druze and the Cherkesim and the Bahaim and the Mormons? So many religions coming to Israel. It's a Jewish state. How do you deal with such a thing? You just say that this is a Jewish state, but at the same time you say it's a democratic state. So how do you deal with it? But actually in this sense, it's actually, in a way, it's easier to find a solution. It means that everyone that is a citizen of the state of Israel, that already is a citizen in Israel, he has the right of 100% of freedom to have his own faith and own religion. And he can do whatever his religion ask him to do. Any ritual or any prayers or any activity. What does it mean? It means freedom of religion. You can be any religion you want, you can decide what you want, and you can act accordingly. So it means freedom from religion. You can decide that you are not religious. You are secular. You don't have to belong to any kind of religion. That's also a freedom. How do you deal with the question of the right of return? That only Jewish people have the right to come to the state of Israel. Why not other people can come to the state of Israel and have 100% rights of citizens? That is also, in a way, easy to solve because this is an immigration law. Japan is protecting its immigration rights, and Italy doing the same, and United States. And every country has its own immigration law, not to let other people that it doesn't want them to go in. And since the State of Israel was declared, as I said, the first article, the state for the Jewish people, they got a special privilege to immigrate into the country. But the moment they enter the country, they have to act according to the 100% democratic laws of this country. Since Mori told me that the people are interested about the conflict, from time to time I will mention something that is concerning this conflict into this issue of religious and the country and democracy. How do we deal with it inside this complicated situation that we are living together with it? 1947, 29 of November, the United Nations declared of a declaration of partition of the State of Israel and decided that there will be a state of Israel. But the Arab world, all of them, didn't accept it, and they attacked the new created country. And after 1 year or more of independence war, borders of armistic borders were defined in 1949. These armistic borders are stopping the situation, like freezing the situation. Jordan is here, Syria is here, Lebanon is here, Egypt is here, and Israel is here. That's the borders. And sometimes the borders are very carved in a very funny way, but it's according to where the army stopped. Where is the post of Israel? It's part of Israel. Where is the post of Jordan? This is a part of Jordan. That's what means armistic borders. That was the borders of 1949. But inside the new state of Israel, with these armistic borders, were about 300,000 Arabs that are living in some cities, some villages of Arab. They were living there before, but they are inside the area of State of Israel. Israel decided that these Arabs should have citizenship like the Jewish people, 100%. They are equal citizens like the Jewish, the Muslims, the Christians, the Druze. Everyone is under the same law and have the same rights. Same time, Jordan, for the West Bank, or Egypt for Gaza, didn't decide the same. They didn't give rights to the people that were living in their areas. It was their decision, and I don't want to go into why they did it or didn't, but the fact is that the people in Gaza and the people in the West Bank were left without any citizenship, and the people that were in Israel became citizens of Israel 100%. We didn't force. If somebody didn't want to take a citizenship, he doesn't have to take a citizenship. But the whole issue is become very sensitive, because in the Israeli law, you must serve in the army when you are 18 years old, from 18 to 21. 3 years boys and about 2 years girls. What shall we do with the Arabs? Their brothers and sisters are beyond the other border. Can they become part of the Israeli army when they are fighting the Arabs? It's a big conflict. I'll tell you a story about 1 year ago, not long ago, not historical event, just last year, which maybe will show a little bit how complicated is the situation in Israel from one side, and from the other side will show you how democratic Israel state is, more with all the complications of religions and Palestinians and other Arabs. Still, Israel maintains a democratic country, maybe more democratic than any other state around the world. Last year there is a group, a Japanese group, that they call themselves Small Group, and they are inviting leaders from different countries to discuss, not politics, like Freedom, a peace organization that wants to bring people together. Usually they do it with Far East countries like Malaysia, Indonesia, conflicts or whatever. But last year they decided to bring 2 people from Israel, 2 parliament members. One of them is Gidon Saar, and it was from the Likud. And the other one is Dr. Ahmad Tibi, that is an Israeli-Palestinian parliament member. Understand the meaning of Israeli-Palestinian Israel parliament member? Well, for me it's difficult to understand. Definitely for people in Japan from far away, that's difficult to understand. How is it possible? So in his speech, Dr. Ahmad Tibi, at the end, the last speech, he said to the whole audience, there were many ambassadors, many people from other countries, but mainly Japanese leaders, and he said, listen, I am the best person to understand the conflict. Why? Because I was 5 years advisor and assistant to Chairman Yasser Arafat, and now I am already almost 5 years parliament member. So I understand both sides perfectly. So I am the best person to advise about any kind of solution. So luckily I had to speak after him. So, yeah. If he would mention it, I wouldn't mention it too. But you just now see, just for example, imagine that somebody is the advisor of Jong-Lee Mall, North Korea. Jong-Lee Mall, his name? Kim Jong-il. Kim Jong-il, sorry. Advisor of Kim Jong-il. And attacking Koizumi-san and government of Japan, and he is North Korean. And he is attacking for 5 years. He is the advisor of Kim Jong-il. And after that, he decides to resign from advising, and he wants to be Kokai-gin. And he is going to all the Korean people in Japan and ask their support, and he is being elected. Is it possible in Japan? In Japan, because you don't have this complicated situation in Israel. But I will explain how is it possible in Israel, and how is it showing that this is a real democratic country that gives the right for the people to fight for their whatever they believe in, as long as they are not betraying the country, of course, not fighting against their own country. Actually, Dr. Ahmad Tibi is part of the families. He was son or grandson of somebody that were living in Israel after 49. So it means he was 100% Israeli citizen. So when he suggested, or when Arafat asked him to be his advisor, I don't know how was the initiative, he could do it as an Israeli citizen, but as an outside advisor. So as long as he was not, at least from our knowledge, not betraying the country, that's a freedom of profession. You can be advisor to Koizumi, or advisor to Bush, or advisor to Blair, or advisor to Arafat. That's okay, as long as you do it professionally. So that was okay. So when he resigned, he didn't change his citizenship. So as a citizen of Israel, he could run for parliament, like me. So we were actually together in the parliament, sometimes in the same committee, me and him. So one day he did something that was a little bit extreme. And we in the committee, same committee, told him, okay, go to the judge and he will decide if you did it as a democratic act or an act against the country. So he said, no, I'm not going to the judge. I want the protection of the parliament that I will not, as immunity as a parliament member. And in the argument, I told him, I'm a Jewish person. I'm an Israeli citizen. You are an Arab person. You are, I don't know if he's Christian or Muslim. I think he's Muslim. And you are Israeli citizen. I will protect your rights 100% as a democratic. But if you are not working as a democratic, you have to be judged. That's very clear. So after that, he kind of quoted me saying that. And he was continuing to use, no, I'm not an Israeli Arab, I'm an Israeli Palestinian. So I said, I don't understand this term, but if you want to use it, please use it. But it's complicated, everyone. No one understands what you are talking. You decide, if a Palestinian is going to be a state, then you have to be a Palestinian citizen. If you are an Israeli, you have to decide what you are. So he said, doesn't matter. I'm Israeli. I'm a Palestinian Israeli parliament member. So it's, you can see that even the people that are living inside the situation do not agree or do not understand sometimes what terms they are using. So in this state, we let them use because it's a democratic country. You want to use this term as long as it's okay, in a democratic terms, that's fine. So that's in the part of how Israel democracy is dealing with issues that maybe do not exist around the world except in Israel. I mentioned that in the state of Israel there are many religious groups. Jewish about 87%, 82%, Muslims about 17%, And the others, Christians and Druze and Cherkessing and Bahaim and Mormons are altogether about 2%. So it's very clear the majority, but still this is a mixture of many religions. In every group there are streams. It's not so simple. Even in the Jewish group, we can divide them into, when we are talking about democracy and religion and how they treat this big issue, there are maybe 4 or 5 or 6 streams that we can define. I will talk first of all of the 2 extreme groups. One concerning this issue of democracy and religion. One is the totally secular people that do not concern about religion. They said religion is not part of the state. It's totally a matter of personal feeling or faith. It's not concerning the states, and the state do not have to deal with it at all, or to make any kind of laws concerning it. And the other group is totally ultra-religious group that don't recognize Israel as a state at all, as a Jewish state. They will say, oh, Israel can be like England or Saudi Arabia or United States. For us, it's not a Jewish state because it's not working according to the Bible law. So for them, they don't recognize the state of Israel as a Jewish state. And there are 3 groups that are in the middle, but also different. One of them we can call more liberal group. And liberal group can contain religious and non-religious people there. And they are more liberal, and they say, maybe like the secular groups, they will say, listen, a state is a state. It has to deal with democratic values, and what we know as democratic values doesn't have to deal with the religious aspects. And they are more close to the secular, but they doesn't have to be secular. They can be religious or non-religious. Opposite to them, and also in the center, there are the religious group, which we call them Zionist religious or national religious, that they say, of course we recognize this is a Jewish state. We are not like the ultra-Orthodox saying, oh, no, this is not a Jewish state. This is a Jewish state, but this Jewish state must work according to the law of the Bible. Well, I'll give some examples. What does it mean? How it's conflict with what we understand the democratic country. But they said this is a Jewish state, of course, but it must work according to Bible law. I'll go for the 5th group because more or less the law in Israel is working according to this 5th group, that maybe there are about 50% or more of the population of Israel, which is more traditional Jewish people that not definitely are keeping the law of the Bible, but here and there they are keeping tradition and they are respecting it. So they say, this is a Jewish state, and here and there we can compromise, and some important thing we should put in, and some others are not important, to let the people more freedom. And more or less the country is working this way, and I'll give you some example that maybe they will look a little bit maybe funny, maybe strange in a way, handless, but for the Jewish people it's not hand. It's a very normal way of living. Actually, the godfathers or the founders of the state were pretty wise people, and they already saw it coming. So one of the letters that was sent in 1947 already affecting our life today in Israel. The state of Israel was born as a state. There was no government, but there was a Jewish agency that at the end, the head of the Jewish agency state chairman was David Ben-Gurion, that later, 1 year later, became the first prime minister of Israel. He wrote a letter to the head of the religious group or religious political group in the Jewish agency. It's called the Israeli Union. He wrote him a letter concerning 4 issues that are concerning religion and should be dealt in the new state of Israel in order to compromise between the demands of the religious people and the understanding of a democratic country. And these 4 issues, we are dealing with them until today, in the society, in the universities, in the parliament. But you can see that the leaders were thinking about the really main things, and actually not many changes were done since then. It was first of all Shabbat, which decided that this will be the resting day of the Israeli state, but at the same time respecting the other religious resting day, Christians Sunday and Muslims Friday. So if somebody wants, a Muslim, he wants to rest on Friday, that's fine. But the main day or the formal day is Saturday, is the Yasumi day. Thing is kosher, kashrut. Israeli food, Jewish food is very complicated with all the rules. So in order to give the right of the people that they can eat whatever they want, but at the same time to keep the spirit or the feeling of a kosher food, it was declared that a governmental kitchen, wherever it is, should be a kosher kitchen. Rest, private, you can do whatever you want. Third thing was the issue of marriage, because marriage declares what kind of kids you'll have, Jewish, Christian, Muslims, whatever. So the issue became very sensitive. Remember that people came from all over the world with different traditions. And then at that time, the declaration was not very clear and foggy kind. And they said that we should find a solution not to split the people, to find a solution to keep the nation as it is. And I will not go into it because it's lecture by itself, but it's a very complicated issue. So for example, in this matter, just to come back to other streams, not just the Jewish people, Israel adapted, because before Israel state was there was the British mandate. And before the British mandate, that was the Turkish Ottoman for more than 400 years there. So some of the laws still in the law of Israel exist through the Ottoman law and through the British mandate that were adopted. And for example, it was decided that each group, religious group, will do the marriage under the umbrella of the religious group. Muslims will deal with the Muslims, Christians with the Christians, Jewish with the Jewish, others, Druze with the Druze, Baha'i with the Baha'i. Everyone will have his own ceremony and ritual. But that's also very limiting because you must do it through the religious group. It means if you want to have citizen marriage with a lawyer or with a judge, you cannot do it in Israel. You must go through a religious group. It's a democratic country. If a Christian wants to marry a Jewish girl or a Muslim or exchange, no one will accept them. You have to either convert to this one religion, otherwise they will not accept. If you want to go to Muslim, both of you must be Muslim or Christian or Jewish. So they cannot marry if they don't want to change. He said, I'm not religion, but I'm registered as a Jewish. I don't care, but I want to marry this Muslim girl. They cannot marry in Israel unless they change their religion, either to Muslim or to Jewish. So it's a conflict inside the democratic country. There is a very good business now in Cyprus, for example. They go to Cyprus, very close to Israel, and they get married in a citizen place, under a lawyer, registered, they made a contract, and they come back as in Israel. They are accepted as a marriage couple, because we respect any other decision of other place, other country. But then their kids has a problem, how to register them. If they want to register in a certain religion, they have some problem. So everything is solved, but not fully. So this is still an issue, open issue, and very hurting issue in Israel still. The last issue, the fourth issue that was dealt in this letter was the education. And in the education, it was clear that every stream of education doesn't matter in the Jewish system. There are many streams, secular and religious and ultra-religious, and the Christians, they can have different stream, and Muslims. Each stream must have its autonomy, as long as it's democratic and teaching. They have to get the support of the state, and they must, and they can do it in their own way. No forcing from outside. Also, that can be very simple. Oh, everyone has a freedom, but you have to create one country with one anthem and the language. So what language you use in a school, in an Arabic school? They want to speak Arabic. What do you use as an anthem? Would they sing the anthem of Israel? They are not going to the army because they were relieved. We didn't speak about it, but they got freedom to not serving in the army because of this conflict. So there is many questions how you still make one country with one anthem and one feeling with so many groups inside. It's not so simple. So of course this is an unlimited issue, and it's been lectured and studied in universities and being dealt every day almost in different institutes of Israel, and we cannot cover everything. But I will give you just two other examples that were developed after this letter. That many changes, but not so many actually. But few changes were done. But these 2 or 3 examples will give you kind of colorful situation of real time today in Israel. Example, in the beginning of the state, actually Saturday everything was closed. What we call public transportation you cannot use. That definitely not buses and maybe at that time taxis a little bit, and definitely not trains and aeroplanes, everything not possible. And stores and restaurants and amusement places, everything was closed at the beginning. Later, by pressure of opening, and then started amusement places and restaurants were open, but still public transportation is not used in Saturday. Buses, you don't find buses in Saturday. For example, some years ago, with the pressure of the religious parties in the parliament, they stopped the Israel Airlines. The airlines of Israel stopped flying on Saturday because they said it's not possible that a national airline will fly. Other airlines, okay, they can fly or land or go. But Israel Airlines, a symbol of the state of Israel, which Saturday should be released and everyone not working, should not work. So it stopped working on Saturday. Here, El Al Airlines were bought by private sector. A company bought Israel Airlines, but they still want to use Israel Airlines. So they bought the company with the order, with the limitation of not flying on Saturday, even a private company, because they are still using the name Israel Airlines. If there were other name, they could use it, but they don't want. It's a very good marketing, so they don't want to change the name, so they cannot fly on Saturday. To find a solution to this is a business company. They have to live, they have a competition, so they found out a solution that is accepted by the religious party. They will take some of the aeroplanes on Friday, and they will rent them to another company. But this other company, it's the same company, but on different name, but register as a new company. So it's called Sandor. So El Al will rent aeroplanes to Sandor, and Sandor can fly on Saturday. No problem. Explanation, not all the lecture, but this explanation I had to give 2 weeks ago to the Transportation Ministry of Japan, because El Al was using charter flight in October to fly from Kansai to Israel with a group called Nick and Sohonsha. They were flying with the name of Sandor, but Transportation Ministry of Japan didn't recognize Sandor. They said, we don't permit. So I had to come to explain to them that this is the same company, and I gave them part of this lecture to explain the Israeli religious system.
実は
Okay, the Director General agreed and they approved it.
で局
A short time, but I will speak shortly. I passed already to the Israel-Japan relations, and you know that maybe this I can, try to speak in Japanese, so it will make it shorter. If my Japanese is bad, you can translate it. So, Tabun, about Yon Shukan Mae, 佐渡ヶ嶽部屋イスラエルに行きました。皆さんわかりますか？そう、佐渡ヶ嶽部屋35人一緒に全部佐渡ヶ嶽部屋行きました。30力士、あとでジャージ、あとで土俵、13？ 13? あ、30? 何をします？13力士だけ。So actually 15. なぜ？ Because 親方、ことの若、親方になりました。古い親方も行きました。15力士です。13本当力士。最初は、トゥリズム外人、コンベンションになりました。メディア、インタビューしました。後で子供たち、海、隣で、練習をしました。後で大統領、カツァフ様、会いました。カツァフの真ん中、固定で、ことみつきとこと将棋デモンストレーションをしました。本当デモンストレーション、ボン。大統領ジャンプ。後で、カイサリア古い場所です。カイサリアはコリセウムです。2000年前、アンフィティアターです。真ん中、時々、オペラ、なります。します。真ん中、土俵つけました。本当土俵。後で、紙をつけました。子供たちを練習しました。後で本当、トーナメントになりました。みんな4000人、来ました。4000とってもエキサイテッドしました。気持ちいい。シャウティング。後で、デモンストレーションじゃありません。本当、組手しました。最初は3力士、勝つしました。こと押し、ことみつき、こと将棋。最初3人は、こと押し、ことみつき、勝つしました。ことみつき、こと将棋、勝つしました。こと押し、こと将棋、こと押し、勝つしました。no winning. もう一回、みんな4000、ことみつき、なぜわかりませんだけ。ことみつき、好きしました。最後は、こと押し2回、ことみつき、一つ、一人、一つ。こと将棋、lost. 後で最後日で、司会で行きました。司会でみんな、見ました。多分、NHK 見ました。富士 TV 見ました。BBC、CNN、イスラエルテレビ、みんな見ました。ようこそジャパン、ようこそイスラエルしました。同じ。最初はアイディア、なぜ最初はアイディアを、日本人、イスラエルわかりません。今、相撲は行きました。みんな、イスラエル、through the eyes of sumo, they can see Israel.
というものを理解することができた。
相撲通して。2番、プログラム is 来週の、今週の、小泉首相イスラエルに行きます。小泉首相は12日イスラエル 行きます。ウルマートさん、カツァフさん、後で、メディアと会議をします。後で、13日、アブマゼン、アブアバス、会います。後で、ラマッラで。後で、14日、アブダッラ、キングアブダッラ様、会います。その後で、サンペテルスブルク、G8 サミット、行きます。最後はプログラム、今年は、11月、VIP エロプレーン。VIP、VIP エロプレーン最初は、エルアルじゃありません。サンドーです。サンドーエロプレーン、同じエルアル、同じです。だけ、サンドーはなぜ、土曜日始めます。土曜日はサンドーの名前です。多分4回、チャーター便、直行便、多分成田から、羽田からイスラエルに行きます。4回毎週。後でエクスペリメントします。エクスペリメントは大丈夫です。後で直行便多分、毎週、します。このトゥリズム、関係イスラエル、日本、今年はgoing up very well. And maybe for the Keizai, we can see that in the last 2 years there is a jump of almost 50% in the trade between Israel and Japan, and actually still Japan is selling to Israel 60% or 65%, and Israel selling to Japan 35%, but both jumped 50% to $2.3 billion. So I don't know. たくさんzero です。And in the culture and the political and the academic and the science exchange, I believe that in the last year we see a lot of advance, but I think that after the visit of Prime Minister Koizumi, it will be a big jump, and after the visit of what we say 100 VIP people, leader people from Japan to Israel in November, I think that will change it dramatically. And I will finish with 2 slogans that the Japanese team in the embassy created for the year of tourism. We called 2006 and 2007 the tourism year between Japan and Israel. So we want to bring as many as possible Israelis to Japan and as many as possible Japanese to Israel. 2006, we said, Israelu ima aeru. For 2007, because 55 years of relations between Japan and Israel, so 5-5, go. Ima go to Israel, Ima go to Japan. So I expect all of you to go to Israel this year or next year. Thank you very much.
ぜひ皆さん